All right, so our next step is to install the vent fan. We got all our rough-in plumbing intact, and we're gonna be going through the roof on this one. There are really three main ways to go about venting your vent fan, and it's really important to get all that humid air out of the building and out of the outside space. But there's three ways you can go about doing that. One is going through a gable end, which is really ideal in most situations because it's on the exterior of the house. It's usually underneath of an overhang, so water penetration is really unlikely. But in this scenario, I really didn't want to have a vent like facing the front of my garage. It would honestly look pretty ugly, and then to go into the back side of the building would be just about impossible, plus it's about 40 feet. So you really, when you're venting something like this with an exhaust fan that has about 110 CFM, you really only want to go about 8 to 10 feet. You can go a little bit further than that if you use a solid duct pipe that doesn't have any ridges on it. You can go a little bit further, but really you want to be as close as possible. The second way would be going through a soffit vent. In this attic space, again, we're going to be going pretty far away from the unit, so that wasn't really ideal. Plus, this is kind of an attic space above a garage. The overhangs aren't going to really be conducive to do that. So we're going to go with the roof vent. We're going to be going through the metal roof vent. This one is actually made by the roofvents.com, and it's pretty simple. It just has a 4-inch duct that goes underneath of it, and I got black to match the roof. But we're going to be using some butyl tape to be able to seal this, and then we're going to be anchoring this into the roof just like any other type of pipe seal roofing thing. So we'll show you how to go about doing that. But I'm going to be installing this Broan Vent Fan. I've been really dedicated to Panasonic over the years, but I thought this was going to be kind of a fun one to install because it has an LED light to it that you can change, and Broan has really been around forever too. So this is going to be a fun fan to put in. We'll be able to change those lighting settings, and the vent fan is about 110 CFM, but really simple on a new construction installation. So let's get to it. Let's get through that roof first. Okay, so location in a bathroom. With 8-foot ceilings, it really doesn't really matter where you install it. I would just say pretty close to the shower, because that's what you're primarily doing, is getting rid of the humid air in the bathroom so that you don't create any mold or it doesn't steam up in the bathroom too much. We're actually going to be going right here in the center, right above our shower area. We got a 30-inch shower, 15 inches about the center of our tub, and thought it'd be a great idea to be able to have that lighting right above the shower. So we're going to go in this wall cavity somewhere, and with that roof vent, I want to make sure I'm not on a ridge. It's not going to form over a ridge very well, so I want to be right in the center flat area of the roof. So let's just kind of measure from our pipe so that we have reference, and we cut the hole in the roof once we get up there. So ideally, somewhere around 40 inches would be great, and we're just going to go in line with our vent stack. Okay, so we're going to actually be doing two things. We're doing a roof seal. This is what we used for the vent, for the pipe vent. So make sure you get a good quality, high temperature sealant that we're going to be able to seal everything. Now this butyl tape is just like extra insurance. It's going to give some more, basically, I mean, it's just almost like a rubbery, sticky consistency. So we're going to prep this before we go up on the roof. We just want to make sure that we put this all around the corners of the square unit here. And we're going to use the combination of the silicone and this. Because we're basically going to be putting all the screws right around here. And obviously this is facing up towards the ridge. And then we'll just silicone all the way around it. Go right in the middle of this guy here. That's pretty cool. It comes with its own switch. That's kind of nice. That usually never happens. These things are pretty expensive too. If you wanted a separate switch, that's pretty awesome. This has got the light.
Oh, wow.
This must be the color changing, and then the fan. That's awesome. All right, so for electrical, typically on a normal bathroom, I use a 3-switch box, primarily because I want to have a separate switch for the fan and the light. But in this scenario, on this bathroom, it actually comes with a 3-switch cover plate that actually does the light and the fan separately. So this is really awesome that comes with that Broan system. So we only need to put a double box in because we're just going to have a light above the vanity and then the light above the shower in the fan. So, but you know, keep in mind, a lot of times a 3-switch box makes a lot of sense, but it really is all about the usage of what you're doing. Now we are going to have a wainscoting on this wall here, and we're roughly going to be about 48 inches, but it's really going to be dictated by the pattern. We're just going to end the pattern where it makes sense and where it works. So I want to make sure I have plenty of room. Typically for a wall switch, it's between 50 and 52 inches to the bottom of your switch. We're going to make it 52. We're going to make it a little bit higher just to make sure that we don't interfere with our wainscoting. Now the location of this really depends on where your door is. Obviously, if your door swings into this wall here, this is not going to be a good location. You don't want your switches behind the door. So just pay attention to that, but really, obviously, just wherever it is most convenient to be able to turn on the switch. So we're going to go ahead and install this here. Put this in here. This is the power lead. Now typically in a bathroom, you're going to need 2 circuits. You're going to need a 15 amp and a 20 amp. So the 15 amp for your lighting circuit, which will include the fan and the vanity light. And then you'll want to have a separate dedicated circuit for your GFI outlet. GFI outlets should definitely be dedicated, just primarily because of the amount of power usage that is used on it. Hair dryers and things definitely take up a lot of power. So we're going to just put this in here. We'll staple all these wires once we get all of the wires run. All right, so prep for the vent fan. Just want to pull out your wire harness. And you actually want to pull out the whole unit, which will just actually literally pull out. It's got a couple of little clips that kind of hold it in place. So we'll just take the whole unit out. You want to put your adapter for your vent. So this goes in through the housing. And it's got these little tabs here that you need to connect right on the outside of this. So you can see how that kind of clips in there. And then there's a screw mounting area right here that you want to put a screw into. So that'll mount this properly. This guy is for your wire connection. Got a Romex connector that we're going to use. So the full width of this is 10¼ inches. So we want to put a stud right at this location. They do give you some drywall screws that you basically just anchor this right into the side of that stud. Best way to connect this now, this is just a regular corrugated, no insulation. Really not that necessary. All the insulation's above here. We're not putting any insulation here. This is the insulation to the roof line. So this really shouldn't sweat because this will be basically a conditioned area. Now, if you're in an attic space where typically you have all the insulation at this level and everything above it is actually going to be pretty cold and a huge difference in temperature. So if you have insulation at this level, like a normal home, you want to make sure this is insulated. They make this has an insulated sleeve, or you can just buy a sleeve to go over this. And that'll just keep you from having condensation that will drip above your drywall. So let's go ahead and connect this. This guy is a lifesaver. So this is a 90-degree turn. use some spray foam, fill in the rest around our vent here. Okay, so wiring. Wago clips really make it nice and easy. So these are levers. So we can just put our power supply in one of them. The only thing you want to pay attention here is make sure that you have the wire coming through the back end of this and it's completely connected. So both of the whites will go together for neutral. And then we'll have our ground. To the power, all the whites are together for neutral, and we got their ground. Pretty simple. And then we can just connect this. We'll just set our fan into place here. Kind of clips in. And you gotta put your 2 screws to hold the fan in. And then once you get your light cover on there, you just connect it to the light. Very, very simple. Definitely a nice little unit. Okay, so this is very interesting. This has batteries in the switch. So you have to make sure you have some AAA batteries. So this essentially is just a glorified remote for the most part. So with the remote, you just needed to connect dedicated power to the actual vent fan. So there's no switch interruption there. It's just gonna be dedicated power. You need to hold on to this light button for 5 seconds for it to pair. Oh, wow. Very cool. Got blue, yellow, orange, pink. Very neat. Very cool. That's pretty neat. So yeah, it's just basically a remote. So just connect this, put that in that device, and pretty neat. Okay, so you can connect your Bluetooth to this. So go to your Bluetooth, and then when you find Chroma Comfort speaker, get you connect to that, and our code 1234. 1234 is the code. Pair. Pretty neat.